Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Namaskrityam
Naram
Naram
Chaiva
Chaiva Narottamam
Narottamam
Devim
Devim
Saraswatim
Saraswatim Vyasam
Vyasam
Tato
Tato
Jayamudire
Jayamudidayat
Nastapayeshu
Nastapurayeshu
Bhadetu
Avaddeshu
Nityam
Nityam
Bhagavati
Bhagavate
Sevaya
Sevaya
Bhagavati
Bhagavati
Uttamaśloke Bhakti
Uttamaśloke
Bhavati
Bhakti Nastiti
Nastiti
Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So we're starting
Jai.
the fourth canto today, chapter 1. So exciting times. So before we start, wanted to seek everybody's good wishes and blessings so that we can dive into the nectar of the fourth canto. It's there's a lot of richness in the content of this canto, as the others, but this one has got special pastimes, which we will share. So just tracking the conversations. At the end of the third canto, Vidur and Maitreya, they were talking about Kapil Dev and Devahuti, and that conversation continues between Vidur and Maitreya. So Maitreya is explaining about the pastimes of Swambhu Manu and his lineage, his sort of descendants coming from him. And very briefly, he had 3. How many daughters did he have? Manu, the first one, Swambhu Manu?
3.
Very good, Naniven.
3 and 2 sons.
Okay, what were the names? Anybody remember the names?
I know one. Uttanapada. One
Okay.
was
Good. What about the daughters?
Priyamvrata,
Nah,
Akuti, Prasuti, Akuti.
Dehuti.
Good.
Oh, Riyansh is very good. Riyansh, I want to see you. Riyansh, I want to see you.
I don't want to see him in London. And the sons' names?
Riyansh will tell. I didn't remember.
Uttanapada.
Yeah. And
And
who was older?
Priyamvrata.
Very good. Priyavrata. Well done.
wow.
Devahuti, she had how many daughters?
9.
9 daughters.
Very good. Okay.
My God, you're so good. better,
How is this?
better than me.
How does he know? I want to know that. So
That's why we should keep quiet in case he knows more than us.
he knows more than he knows. He makes me feel ashamed.
He's a special kid.
He's a go.
He's a good definitely.
So there's a couple of very amazing verses which I wanted to share with devotees in this first chapter of the fourth canto. Okay. Chetastat pavanam yunjan astavit samhatana jali slakshmaya shuktaya vacha sarvaloka garishyasa atirvacha Vishvotpavastitilayeshu vibhajyam nane maya gunay anuyugam vigrita deha te brahma vishnu girisa panatosmi aham vas te biyoka eva bhavatamma iho pahuta.
But since his heart was already attracted by the deities, somehow or other he gathered his senses, and with folded hands and sweet words, he began to offer prayers to the predominating deities of the universe. The great sage Atri said, O Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, you have divided yourself into 3 bodies by accepting the 3 modes of material nature, as you do in every millennium for the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all of you and beg to inquire whom of you 3 I have called by my prayer.
Really interesting question by Atri Rishi. He'd been meditating for a very long time. He wanted the Jagat, the Lord of the universe, to appear before him. but he wasn't sure who they were of the three. So he was effectively calling all three, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And all three appeared before him. And then he said to him, okay, I'm calling the Lord of the Universe. Which one of you is the Lord of the Universe? Very interesting. Of course, Vishnu, he's not accepting the three modes of material nature. He doesn't come under the three modes of nature. So we have to be a little careful there, because sometimes it's understood that Vishnu is in charge of the mode of goodness, but actually is beyond it, because he is Supreme Lord. Lord Brahma, he mixes with the mode of passion, as does Lord Shiva. So they have some connection with the modes, but Vishnu has no connection. So it's important to understand that. But it's a very interesting verse, because he's asking, which one have I called? Okay, the genealogical table of the daughters of Manu. So this is how the chapter is entitled. So we're going to talk about Akuti first. Akuti and her husband, Ruchi, gave their son, who's an incarnation of the Lord, his name was Yagya, to her father, Swambhu Manu, because that was the condition Manu placed on giving his daughter to Ruchi. Because he knew, Swambhu Manu knew that their son, Ruchi and Akuti's son, would be an incarnation of the Lord. So that was a very shrewd move by Swambhu Manu. Later, Yagya married Dakshina, who is a partial incarnation of Lakshmi, and by whom he had 12 sons, also known as Tusitas. Now, Yagya and Dakshina appeared from Akuti, but they got married. So they're brother and sister, but they got married. So we got to understand that they are, as Vishnu and Lakshmi, they have the eternal relationship that can't be changed. So in one sense, they're not they're not brother and sister, because they are supreme personalities of Godhead. Nor are they born of Akuti, because they're the supreme. Akuti is actually coming from them. So we have to understand that their position is totally transcendental. Swambhu Manu handed over his daughter, Prashuti, so that was the third daughter, to the son of Brahma named Daksha. And we're going to talk a lot about Daksha in the next few chapters, who was one of the progenitors, the Prajapatis of the living entities. So one of the forefathers, if you like, principal forefather. Descendants of Devahuti's 9 daughters. So this is from chapter verse 12 to 14. Kada Muni's daughter, Kala, who was married to Marichi, gave birth to 2 children whose names were Kashyap and Purnima. And then we've got Atri Rishi's austerities. One of his other daughters, so Kada Muni's daughter, Anasuya, married Atri Rishi. He was a powerful sage. His is the verse that we described right at the beginning. In a mountain valley, Atri Rishi, who wanted the Lord of the universe as his son, stood on one leg performing pranayam and ate nothing for 100 years. It's a long time. But in those days, in Satya Yuga, their lifespan was much longer. They used to live 100,000 years. So in comparison to that, the 100 years is not a huge amount of time. When a blazing fire came from his head, the 3 principal deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, appeared, along with many demigods, to benedict Atri Rishi. And then, so this is incredible. There's Atri Rishi. He was stunned to see Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva. Sorry, Lord Brahma is here, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. And these are the devatas who came along with the 3 principal deities. Very interesting. Very interesting. So the next section, 25 to 33. Dattatreya, Soma, and Durvasa. So Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva were very pleased with Atri Rishi. Despite his not knowing which of them was supreme, as all three had appeared before him, because any of them can be known as the Lord of the universe, Jagat Ishwar. Because Vishnu is the Lord, but Brahma is created. So in one sense, he is also the Lord. And Lord Shiva is higher than Brahma. So he's also the Lord. So in one sense, they're all, three of them are lords of the universe, in one sense. They smilingly benedicted him that he would have three sons who would be partial manifestations of their potency. So he wanted one son to appear to him as Lord of the universe, partial expansion. But all three of them became so pleased with Atri that they all appeared and they all said, you'll have three sons now, and they'll all be part of us, partial representations. So from the partial representation of Brahma, Soma came, the moon god. From partial representation of Vishnu came Dattatreya. And this is Dattatreya, very interesting personality. And from partial representation of Shiva came Durvasa. Now, Durvasa's, I love this picture, it's a very fierce looking character. Of course, he didn't appear as a fierce looking character when he came before Atri, but this is commonly how he's seen in this world. So the next section is the sage's children. So this is where a lot of names are listed out. Maitreya lists the sons of Angira, Pulatsya, Pulaha, Kratu, Vashishta, Athavya, and Bhrigu. So these are the husbands of the daughters of Devahuti. And he lists many, the famous names. The famous offspring in these two lines were Brihaspati. So he's the guru of the Devatas. Agastya, a great sage. Kuver, the treasurer of the Devatas. The 60,000 Valakilyas. Chitraketu, we'll hear a lot about Chitraketu later on. I think the 8th canto. Markandeya Muni, again, he's very famous, and we'll see a lot of him as well. Sukracharya was the demigods, the demons. Rakshasas, spiritual master, that's right.
And Ravana.
Ravana.
God.
Interesting, eh? Interesting. He's in this line as well. You want to say?
And Kumbhakarna.
And Kumbhakarna. That's right. That's right. Very interesting. You were saying about those two? Okay. So we'll come across Ravan and Kumbhakarna in the 9th canto. And Sukracharya will come across especially during the pastimes of Bali Maharaj. So all of these personalities we will be talking about in little detail. Children of Pashuti and Daksha. So now this is where it gets really interesting. Daksha, they had 16 daughters. 13 were married to Dharma, religion. One was married to Agni. One was married to Pitas. And who was the last one married to? Anybody know?
That he married to Shiva.
Wow, well done. That's right.
Keep quiet. He should keep quiet. Others can use their brains now.
That's true as well, yeah.
He's so good. Show us your photo, Riyansh.
So Sati, and she was married to Shiva. Now, also, the most famous children from these unions were Naaranarayan, incarnation, born of Murti and Dharma. So Murti and Dharma is one of the daughters here, married to Dharma. She gave birth, or she was a mother of Naaranarayan Rishi. Naaranarayan Rishi is partial incarnation of Krishna and Arjuna. The appearance of these sages caused great joy and peace in the world. The demigods showered flowers, sang, and offered prayers. As Krishna and Arjuna, they have appeared in the Yadu and Kuru dynasties. The latter two are not expansions of Naaranarayan, but Naaranarayan were present within them. So it's not that Krishna and Arjuna were expansions of Naaranarayan. No, Krishna is the original and from whom everybody comes. So that's something that's very important to understand. So Naaranarayan is an expansion of Krishna and Arjuna as well. So the dynasty of the Agni and the Pitas, Agni had 3 sons, 45 grandchildren, including Agni. How come I got Agni again here? They were all fire gods. Oh, I see. Must have been a partial expansion. They were all fire gods who were beneficiaries of oblations at sacrifices. The Pitas had 2 daughters who were expert in transcendental and Vedic knowledge. Now, Sati and Shiva. Lord Shiva's wife did not produce a child. She gave, now this is what Maitreya Rishi is telling to Vidur. She gave up her body before reaching maturity because of her father's insulting her husband, in spite of Shiva's faultlessness. This was, this statement by Maitreya Rishi was a bit of a shock to Vidur. What do you mean? Is his next question. But does anybody else have any comments or questions before we move on to chapter 2?
Prabhuji,
Yes.
it says, I think, I don't remember the names of the parents, but one of them had 60,000 children.
Right.
So
Yes, that's right.
was it, don't know how is that possible?
Yeah.
I thought they were all rishis and very transcendental, but
Yeah,
that's true, isn't it?
they had different potencies. And this is Satya Yuga, and things were probably beyond our comprehension there, isn't it?
And they're trying to populate the world as well, material world with all the jivas.
Yeah, that's another point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's beyond our imagination, really. You can't even imagine 60,000 kids. You can't even imagine 100, like what's it? Gandhari and Dhritarashtra, yeah.
But Prabhuji,
quite
they
bewildering.
were living like for 100,000 years.
That's right, yeah.
Because they were not like us, right?
Yeah, that's right. Indeed. But even then, 60,000 kids, that's a lot of kids. But a lot of them would also grow up very fast, They would some of them immediately would grow up and they would start populating the universe themselves. So,
But Nabi, Haribol, Hare Krishna, sorry. Yeah, and when he says, when he created different 6 types of sort of different beings, so he's like human, or we can't understand this. This is like in a different dimensions as well.
That's right.
And different planetary systems or whatever, I know. And that's why we say, is there life on other planets, or is there life anywhere else in the galaxies or universes, or and we just we are in this little pond, little frog in a pond.
That's it, frog in the pond.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, because all different types of species also are created by these Prajapatis.
And sometimes we don't understand, but a fish can lay hundreds of eggs, and I don't know how different beings, give birth and create and procreate.
Yeah. But they had the potency within them to do this, as agitated by the Lord, as given by the Lord. So they were able to do that because they were given that ability due to their karma, due to their wanting to do that. These are devatas, very powerful devatas, Prajapatis. So God has.
And am I right in saying the wife Atri's Ansuya, isn't it? Somewhere? Or?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because there's some story I was listening to or reading, and there's a place in Chitraket. Chitrakoot, yeah, with Lord Ram and Sita, and they come there. There's a place, and that says Ansuya's ashram there.
That's right. Atri and Ansuya. It's the same
Yeah,
Atri and Ansuya.
Mm.
yeah, that's right. Same one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
Thank you.
actually, the pastime is really interesting because they tested her chastity, didn't they? And
Yeah, yeah. There's some story, and that place is still there. And I was
it's still
listening
there, yeah.
about
We went there.
one of no, there is one personality called Paramahansa Baba or so. He was told to go to that Ansuya's ashram and look after it. So historically, he kind of stayed there and he was looking after it, and some of his disciples are there, and he was some sort of powerful bhakta, So anyway,
So what happened
I don't want to go
actually?
into.
Yeah, what happened was that basically they wanted to test the chastity of Ansuya. So 3 of them appeared as disguised as Brahmins, I think. And they said to Ansuya, you should feed us, we are your guests, but you have to feed us naked. And
Yeah,
of course, if she became naked, it would have broken her chastity.
chastity.
She
Yeah.
couldn't be naked without, except for the husband. So she said, okay, I will do that. But you 3 have to become little babies. So because of the power of her austerity, because she was serving Atri, who was a great sage. So she herself had accumulated huge piety. They had to become children. And she was feeding them naked. And the wives of Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, they were wondering what happened to our husbands. They came and they saw Ansuya was playing with these little children. And the little children were Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. So she got them under her control because of her love, actually, for the lordships. So this was a really phenomenal pastime. And Atri Rishi was wondering, what is going on here? How is my wife doing this?
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
pastime. And
So
we
since
went
that
there.
time, that ashram is still there, and
We were
Lord
there.
Ram and Sita, and they all visit that place and all that.
That's right. We were there
So-
about 2-3 years ago. And it's
Okay.
phenomenal. It's
Yes, Prabhuji,
beautiful.
there, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Naliban, you were there, right?
Yes,
Yeah, she
Oh,
was on that trip.
yeah, that's right.
it was lovely.
Mm.
When you see the photo of Dattatreya, it's all 3 faces, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, isn't it?
Mm. Mm.
Dattatreya is Lord Vishnu.
But sometime when you see in the photograph that you
He's
show,
got 3 faces, yeah.
all the 3 combined, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh.
He shouldn't be. Let's just have a quick look.
Yeah, look at it.
Let's have a look.
No, that
Yeah, so 3.
He's got 3, but he's not Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva.
No.
He's just Vishnu.
It's only Vishnu. Okay.
Yeah, he's just Vishnu.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for clarification.
Yeah, he's just Vishnu.
Vishnu, yes. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding me and of that pastime, actually, Madhusun Babu.
No, it's okay. I mean, I haven't been there. This one place, I thought, oh, that's an interesting place. And
Yes.
since I was listening about this this Paramhans Baba, he's when he left his physical body, he said, I'm going to be around here, in my Suksham Roop, like subtle bodies, So he's still there in that zone, in the ashram or something. Anyway, carry on.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Any questions? Anil, good to see you today.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Mataji.
Anything from your side?
Yeah. All these are new to me, so I'm trying to understand. And
Yeah. Yes, it is it's quite interesting. It's quite perplexing as well. Okay, let's look at.
Prabhuji, just I was curious, why when these powerful people give challenges and counter challenges that you can feed me, like Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh told that person
And so,
to
yeah.
be naked, and then she said, okay, you become babies. So it is just to make an interesting pastime, or are there things behind that which are like karmas and all those things and affecting those things?
Not necessarily karmas, but definitely pastime is part of it. But it's more, they are also testing the devotion of the persons. And in that way, showing us an example, giving us an example. And on top of that, it's a pastime which when we remember, we become closer to the Lord as well and his devotees. So it's a combination of things at the same time. But not necessarily, karma is not necessarily involved in that. But it's more the Lord and the Lord and the devotee testing each other, in fact. So the Lord is testing, is my devotee true to me? And the devotee is testing his devotion to God, Is my devotion enough, powerful enough to in this case, submit the Lord, make the Lord submit to me. Because Ansuya did, she managed it. It was amazing.
So
But
this
it
way
shows
we can apply,
yes.
sorry,
Go
this way we can apply these things to our personal life, that how those things, difficult times came, and then we have more faith towards God, and
Yeah.
we keep on praying God, and we keep on following our spiritual practice when we are in difficult times, that
Yeah.
it's a testing time, the way
Yeah.
those people went through the testing time. So it can
Yeah.
be an example to us too.
Oh, very good point.
We
Yeah.
can apply that way.
Yes, that's right. I mean, those pastimes are just, in one sense, Leela, but we'll see so many pastimes now come one after the other, where exactly what you just said, how the Lord is giving us examples of how we can go through challenges by looking at the lives of these wonderful souls and some not so wonderful souls, how they become transformed. Because we also can have some really crazy thinking. Like we'll see the next pastime is about Daksha, who becomes really bewildered, crazy actually. He becomes very angry. And, our conditioning in our lives is we tend to also become angry very quickly. So these pastimes show us how we can also look at ourselves in when we're angry or greedy or whatever, and transform ourselves as well by remembering these pastimes. Yeah, that's a really good point. I know, good point.
And Nabi, this kind of makes me think of how this Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and this is reminding us of the nature of the material universe, the material in comparison to the spiritual, where material is full of like a joyful ride at times, and then driving along you see potholes and so there are negative and positives to study both natures, and then realize and then these personalities are also falling trapped into the same sort of thing. They make mistakes, or sometimes in the devotional service they either let themselves down in some ways, or then they enhance themselves and transform themselves, and it is quite interesting concepts as well.
It is very true. Very true. Thank you. So we can recite this verse from the second chapter. Kastam chararam gurum nirvanam santa vigraham atmaramam katham dvesti jagato dvaitam mahat.
Lord Shiva, the spiritual master of the entire world, is free from enmity, is a peaceful personality, and is always satisfied in himself. He is the greatest among the demigods. How is it possible that Daksha could be inimical towards such an auspicious personality?
So this is Vidu's surprise. How could this happen? So this chapter is entitled Daksha Curses Lord Shiva. Daksha enters the assembly So first 7 verses deal with this particular point. Vidur inquires how Daksha could be inimical towards the gentle, non-envious, peaceful, and greatest of the devatas, Lord Shiva, which would cause Sati to give up her life. This was shocking to Vidur. He couldn't believe his ears. Maitreya explained that at a greater sacrifice organized by the leader of the universe, the leaders of the universe. So this was organized by Devatas. Daksha, the leader of the Prajapatis. So he was made the leader of the progenitors by Brahma, which is a really august position. He entered this assembly, his personal bodily luster as bright, as effulgent as the sun of the sun. So he was very powerful. But that powerful made him very full of pride. He was honored by all the great sages and the demigods. So everybody was seated. As soon as he walked in, everybody stood up. They all stood up to greet him, except Lord Brahma. Why wouldn't Lord Brahma stand up for Daksha?
Because he's the father of Daksha.
Good.
You are too fast, too fast.
And Lord Shiva have to respect because he is the son-in-law of Daksha.
No, wrong.
Lord Shiva was the
Yeah, but
He doesn't have to respect.
that's why.
Yeah.
He has to respect his father-in-law.
Yeah.
So he was the Lord Shiva was the demigod, higher position than Daksha.
Yes. He's higher than Daksha because,
He's like an uncle.
Well, let's just take one at a time, right? Brahma, one is the father, but second, he's also the creator of the secondary creator, right? The Visarga. So Brahma, even if he wasn't the father of Daksha, he would not have to necessarily greet Daksha because he's just in a higher position. However, Shiva, he took a lower position because he became the son-in-law of Daksha. He married Sati. So from a relationship point of view, he's got a lower relation. He's got a subordinate relationship to Daksha. However, as we know from the spiritual angle, Shiva is even higher than Brahma. So he doesn't have to stand up. He should have to maintain peace, but he didn't have to. Right? He didn't have to stand up. So what happened? Daksha, his eyes glowing, was greatly angered because Shiva, his son-in-law, did not rise out of respect or say any sweet words to greet him. He was quiet, right? Shiva was quiet. That's his nature. Due to previous envy of Shiva, Daksha accused Shiva of being mad, ill-mannered, shameless, dishonest, inauspicious, dirty, and mad. So this is where Daksha, his pride has been hurt because his son-in-law, who he thinks is subordinate to him, did not greet him. And in any case, he didn't like Shiva because his daughter, his beautiful daughter Sati, had married this impoverished, he thought was an impoverished personality. He never understood Shiva. Then, so because of that previous baggage, and now Shiva not standing up to greet Daksha, Daksha lost it. He completely lost it. He became very angry. And then he cursed Shiva to never get a share in the sacrificial oblations. And then he stormed out of the meeting, the assembly. How did Shiva take this?
Very calmly, didn't do anything.
Shiva was very peaceful. And in Ramayana, there is a little secret here. When we talk about Ramayana, I will bring this topic up.
Okay, good, good. Yeah, that'll hold us in suspense. Hey, is that the plan for Saturday, right?
Which Saturday, Prabhuji?
This Saturday?
Coming Saturday.
Oh, okay, I'll try because I've been so busy lately. And
Okay, no, let us know tomorrow. If you can't, we'll do something else. No problem.
Okay, okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Shiva was tolerant.
Tolerant, but he was more than that. Right? He was more than this. Just like a little bit like Krishna. When Krishna gets insulted, what does he do to those insults?
He killed Shishpala.
No, he was just very composed, and he allowed him, and he was smiling.
Yeah.
And Shiva also here is showing his nature, because by nature Shiva is very calm. Unless somebody like do something bad, then he become Rudra, and then he start his Tandava.
Yeah, he takes the negatives and makes them into positives.
Oh yeah,
like Krishna.
This is Daksha, by the way, having a song and dance. He's having a go at this wonderful.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Yes.
when I see Daksha in this picture, he has some pride.
Indeed.
From outside only I am seeing. He is shouting at Lord Shiva.
Indeed. Now, what does Shiva do? Just like Krishna, when he was being insulted by Shishupal, Krishna was not taking them as insults. He was accepting those comments as compliments. So Shiva was doing the same. This is the beauty of these great personalities. He had accepted those insults as indirect praise. When he was called mad, yes, he's mad with prema for the Lord. Even the curse that you will never share in sacrificial oblations was a blessing, because he is a great Vaishnava. Why should he sit with the demigods and have share the fruits of sacrifice? He's a great Vaishnava. Doesn't have to do that. He's directly following Krishna. So he doesn't have to sit with the demigods. This is a karma kandi thing. This is partly because the fruits of sacrifice are because they've earned the karma in the past to get those fruits. Well, Shiva's got nothing to do with karma. So he was accepting everything as compliment. This is the glory of Shiva. So Nandishwar, of course, his followers, Shiva's followers were really upset. They were furious at Daksha's behavior and that of the Brahmin priests who tolerated Daksha's insults of Shiva. So this was another issue actually. Daksha was insulting. When somebody is insulting a Vaishnav, well, we have to do a few things. Otherwise, we are also implicated in that insult. We either walk away or we shut that person up.
Prabhuji, we have to go from that.
Yeah.
To insulting the devotee of Lord Shiva, or we have to close our ears while listening that.
Yeah, close the ears or walk away. Just walk away. Otherwise, we get implicated. But these Brahmanas, they were actually urging Daksha. They were actually smiling and showing their teeth. So these Nandishwar and the other associates of Shiva, they were really not happy. So they started cursing back. Daksha, who is too attached to sex life to get a head of a goat. This was a curse. The Brahmanas to remain materialistic and continue in the cycle of birth and death.
And they will forget what they have read.
That curse is not there, is it? Maybe.
See, that curse is there.
Okay. Well, thank you for telling me. Oh, okay. To remain materialistic. So even if they do anything.
And they will forget their Vedas, what they had read.
No, I don't think that's not
but,
right. Yeah.
But you're right in one sense. They'll forget the spiritual aspect and they'll remain materialistic. From that point of view, yes, that's correct. So then the Brahmins started cursing the Shivites. So this was cursing and counter cursing. It was a really horrible place to be. In retaliation against Nandishwar's curses, Brigu, Bhrigu is the head of the Brahmins. He cursed Shiva's followers to become atheists, to be diverted from Shastric regulations, to become addicted to wine and flesh, to imitate Shiva by keeping long hair, and also other things like having ash covered, they're smoking ganja, etc., etc. So this cursing and counter-cursing upset Lord Shiva, who silently left the assembly. He didn't get upset, he just left. Because he was fearing that Nandeshwar, his disciples, his followers, they might start speaking badly against Lord Vishnu and also Lord Brahma. So he left. And his devotees, Vishnu and his devotees. So to stop him and Bhrigu from further cursing and counter-cursing, he departed. So then the chapter ends. In spite of the absence of Daksha and Shiva, the other Prajapatis performed the 1,000-year yagya and took their baths at the confluence of Yamuna and Ganga afterwards. So that ends the chapter 2. So we're doing 2 chapters today, and that's the end of the chapter 2. Any comments, any questions at this point? Quite interesting pastime. Yes, Anu.
Hi, Bhrigu.
So
Yes, Anu.
when we talk about, when we say that if somebody is telling something to the Vaishnavas, we should close our ears or we should walk away. Like ignoring the thing, isn't it accepting what the other person is saying?
Yeah, actually, there's another aspect. There is another aspect, which is you. Well, there's 2 more aspects. One is a little drastic. One is you counteract the argument. So if you're able to counteract the argument, then you speak up. But if you, for whatever reason, you can't argue back because the person is more senior to you, then you walk away. But there is another third one, which is very drastic, which is you.
Our Guru Maharaj used to say, cut their tongue. You remember that?
Well, that's not Guru Maharaj. That's actually the scriptures. That's what the
I heard
scriptures
it from
say.
Guru Maharaj, right?
That's the drastic one. You cut the tongue off.
Can you repeat that, Lekha? What did your Guru Maharaj say?
It's not Guru Maharaj, it's the scriptures. It says you cut that person's tongue out. And as Dr. Naniben, you would know how to do that.
Is it really in the scriptures?
Yeah,
Okay.
the scriptures.
Yeah, it's a bit from like the Ramayana, isn't it? It's long. Because another thing is, like you have to say the truth all the time. And, it's like pran jaye pa vachan na jaye. Along those lines.
Okay.
Yeah, it's to show the severity of
Yeah.
the insult. If you insult a Vaishnav, then there are heavy consequences. And if you're part of that insulting by being in that area and listening to it or accepting that this aparadha is going on and not do anything, then you also get part of the reaction. So Anil, if you can't do anything, you walk away.
Prabhuji, like chapter 9, verse 30 of Bhagavad Gita says that you give a chance to that person to be in association with us.
Yeah, but when you do Vaishnava Aparadha, that is a different category of insult. What chapter 9:30 says, even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. So what you're saying is somebody does Vaishnava Aparadha, but he's still doing bhakti. But if somebody does Vaishnava Aparadha, their bhakti will go very quickly as well. This is the problem. So yes, we try to correct that person. Correct, absolutely right. But if you are a junior person and a senior person is doing the aparadha, you may not be in a position to correct that person.
Okay. Okay.
So if you hear that insult, then best to walk away.
So walking away from the discussion, isn't it that's showing physical response that I don't like it, I'm walking
Yes.
away?
Yes. And are you saying that that might be offensive in itself?
Yeah.
Not if you're walking away from a offensive situation, if you see what I mean, where an offense is being committed, you walk away from that. That is perfectly acceptable.
Okay.
That's perfectly acceptable. And in fact, you could even say, sorry, I need to tune myself out of this situation. Please don't mind, and walk away. Yeah, there's different ways to do it. There are definitely different ways to do it.
But that person will not come to know that I didn't like it, that's why I'm going away.
So then if you want them to know, then you can, of course, express that.
And that will not be an offense.
No, not at all. In fact, that is a requirement, that actually this conversation is now becoming offensive and I don't want to take part in this. That is actually required. If it's possible for you to do that, that's good.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. No, thank you. Naniven?
Yes. Now, yes, I think walking away is the best option, and the other person would know why the other person is walking away, because of the way that he's talking. So, and it would just stop the, I would say, all these arguments in the bud. At a later stage, confrontation may take place, and when the other person, one who was offending, may be in a bit of a better mood, then the other person can explain at that time. But I think walking away is the best thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, where all this was taking place, where is all this? It says here at the confluence of Yamuna and Ganga. So, was that the particular place where all
No,
this was?
no, this was in the heavens. But then when they finished the yagya, they had the bath at the end, at the confluence of the Ganga and the Yamuna.
Which is Prayag.
Which is Prayag, but I don't think this was done at this in this world anyway. It was probably in the heavens where Ganga and Yamuna meet. Oh, she's got a phone call. Yeah. Anybody else? Any comments? Any questions?
Why Bhrigu curses Srimads?
Bhrigu, because Bhrigu was the head of the Brahmins, and the Shivites were cursing the Brahmins as well. So they cursed firstly the Laksha, you're going to get a head of a goat. But then they started cursing the Brahmanas that you will remain materialistic because you have supported Daksha in his behavior. And you will remain in birth. And Bhrigu didn't like that. And so Bhrigu then started having a go at the Shivites.
Okay. So if Bhrigu is a supporter of Daksha?
In this case.
Indirectly, you could say that. But Bhrigu, if his response to Daksha should have been, quieten down. You are out of order because Shiva is higher than you. So shut up and just get on with it. But this Leela had to happen to be instructive. So Bhrigu didn't respond in that manner. But Bhrigu is higher than Daksha because he's like the leader of the Brahmanas. So he was in a position to say, Daksha, you are out of order.
Yeah, it was said that before Shiva was keeping tilak, when his follower, like when ghosts, I heard from some Prabhu, I don't know, like they were keeping tilak, Shiva was keeping as we will keep Vaishnava tilak. And his followers, ghosts, everything, they are keeping tilaks on every body. So, I mean, something happened, like I forgot the past time. And after that, Shiva changed it into 3, it seems, because I forgot pastime also.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that. Okay, anybody else?
So now this yagya, this sacrifice that was taking place, was that like more to enhance their karma kind of activities, or was it to enhance the spiritual, or just?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's not clear from the Bhagavatam the purpose of the yagya. It's a good question, actually.
Because later on, it just shows that the Brahmins and all that will curse, and then they just do things for karma kanda activities will enhance, and and the Brahmins will not really be that qualified in their. So, you know, this incident seems to be more of a materialistic nature. That's why Lord Shiva didn't want any more offenses to take place, especially to the Supreme Lord, because this yagya should really be for the benefit of the Supreme Lord.
You're right. And that's what happened, because after everything got sorted, they started the yagya again, and immediately the Lord became very pleased and he came to that yagya. So you're right. I think the idea of the yagya, the sacrifice, was to please the Supreme Lord. That's why they did the yagya. But of course, it got sidetracked by Daksha's activities. But then when everything got back to normal again, again, the Lord came and he became very pleased with the sacrifice. So it is to please the Supreme Lord. With what motive? Whether they want to please their materialistic desires, I think that's probably the aim, as opposed to devotional desires. Yeah.
But this shows the nature, the mood of Daksha, that this was more for their own materialistic activity, and their egos were involved a little bit there, which ended up in blaspheming the Lord Shiva, each other, and then in every yagya, this Lord Shiva is meant to be. I'm just a little bit. Anyway, we're not so focused on the karma kanda side of things. So, you know, I'm not so focused on that. Anyway, yeah.
No, it was definitely to please the Lord. But then when he becomes pleased, what do you want from him? Do you want material gains or do you want spiritual gains? And I suspect mostly it's to get, can I rule better? Can I become more powerful, like that? So it's probably the karma kanda side, as you were saying, you know. Good point. Oh, yeah. So while you're here, shall we do the instructions?
Oh, okay. Yeah. A little bit. So chapter 1, I just said, you know, just as Atri inquired about Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, and stated that you have accepted bodies by the material gunas, like Lord Brahma is Lord of mode of passion, Vishnu mode of goodness, and Lord Shiva mode of ignorance, and all that. So by the gunas that you have accepted the bodies. But certainly he didn't clarify, or he hadn't misunderstood, and he was out of Atri's ignorance that he had included Lord Vishnu as having material gunas and nature as well. So we should also have a clear understanding of the constitutional position of these personalities, especially Vishnu's with transcendental nature. Because this is a misconception within Hinduism as well, that, you know, there's only Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, and they three, the trilogy, they make up the Godhead or something, you know, and anything else that happens beyond that is like even Krishna coming here, or it's just he takes on a material body and all that. So there's a misunderstanding and misconception. So we should be a bit clear. We should inquire and be clear on that. Chapter 2, by studying the interaction of Daksha and Lord Shiva in the sacrificial arena, we are being instructed on the nature of anger and its effect. which leads to like forgetfulness, and you don't end up saying what you forget what you were meant to be doing and saying and all that. And it leads to suffering and cursing and counter cursing. So we should also learn to discriminate and follow proper authority. So for example, like Bhrigu's curse was that Lord Shiva was going to be atheists and all that sort of thing. I don't know all the detail, but there were these curses. So when we, see people who are atheistic and all that, then we start to think, are they being influenced by that curse or what? We don't want to remain under that sort of curse. So proper authority and guidance, we can take on to the transcendental nature, like, and learn to discriminate where the knowledge and who we should follow really. I hope that's appropriate.
Yeah, that's good. Very good. Thank you for that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, anybody else? Any questions or any comments? Any realizations from the reading? I hope devotees were able to read a little bit.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, good. So tomorrow I'm thinking we'll try to do all 3 chapters, because there's not too much philosophy. It's mainly, different pastimes. Yeah, if that's okay. And then the one after that is going to be long chapters. So we'll just do 2 chapters. But tomorrow, hopefully we can do 3 chapters. Good. Thank you so much, dear devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Canto 4 ki jai, chapter 1 and 2 ki jai, Lord Shiva ki jai. So let me just stop now.